And we are back with more Everlasting Summer and to see what's gonna go on here with Miku's route. Uh, the last part that I put up got a little bit confusing toward the end there. I wouldn't say too confusing, but a slight little some major plot must have happened back there. I'm not exactly sure. Uh, I'm still trying to figure out whether or not if that was Slavia back there they showed at a dead body because, like I said, reading that in the text, you saw something on the ground or what looked like somebody, but they didn't really make out a face or any of that, so I couldn't tell who it was. But so we're gonna, but since um, oh, what's her name? Is mentioned in about a murder case. Obviously, they're trying to figure out who the culprit is. My suspicions then, since I'm already on Miku's route, if it ends up turning out to be true, then I think we all kind of know who it's going to be. Will it change my opinion, though, about her? I don't know. We'll see on that. I'm actually liking the route so far, but I'll give my thoughts overall once I get done with it. But for now, let's see where this mystery is going to take us. I don't care if there are any wolves here or not. It could even be a bear or a badger, but certainly not a human. No one would be able to do something like that without additional tools. And the type of wounds made it clear that the unfortunate victim had been dismembered with bare hands or paws. Wow, there is one wolf girl you have not met yet there, Simeon. Though it's true enough that an enraged human can gain only superhuman strength. Nearly gain, I should say. But of all the people gathered here, who would be able to do something like that? Router, Lena, maybe Olga herself. No, that's stupid. But even so, there were many children apart from them in the canteen and at the square. But am I really going to interrogate every single one of them? It does make you wonder. It's like, why Slavia? It's like, why did they pick her out of the lineup? It's kind of like, because they could have easily chose Lena to have as this murder victim, or I don't know. It's kind of interesting that they chose her of all things. Is it because she's a blonde? Not really sure on that. What to think on that one? Choose the nice girl out of them all. Is that usually what happens? I don't know. That's a job for the police. That's what they're. Then what's there to be afraid of? Maybe I'm not afraid for myself, but for Basha. And I'm pretty positive he's still not sure who he is yet. He hasn't figured out who he is. But I'm guessing anyway. Right, I need to check how she's doing. I was just about to get up when suddenly I sensed someone's presence. Ah, I looked back and saw Lena. Oh, I didn't want to scare you. It's okay. Can I sit here? Yes, sit down, please. She fixed her skirt with a neat move, sat down, and started staring at the sunset. How sad this all is. Yeah, not much to rejoice about. What do you think? Who could have done that? How should I know? Certainly not me. No, no, it's not like I suspect you or anything. She began waving her hands in a funny manner. Well, thanks for that. I smirked sadly. But that must have been done by a very cruel, very evil person. Well, not necessarily. To murder somebody, obviously. Yeah, there has to be something going on with you. Lena glanced at me in confusion. Maybe it was a one-off delusion. After all, in everyday life, maniacs can be the nicest of people. Yeah, when they're trying to, I don't know, try to redeem him in some way by some plot, right? So, you were saying that. Her eyes widened and her jaw dropped a little. That it could have been done by any one of us. Well, I'm not asserting that, that's for sure. But the circle of suspects is quite large. No, none of the children could do that. No one. Anyway, it's up to the police to deal with it. We spent some more time sitting in silence. I was about to leave when Lena suddenly whispered, Or could you? This look is creepy as shit. I'm not really sure what to think of this look. Your look is quite scary here, man. You look. Oh, come on, phone. You're not gonna do that on me in the middle of this LP, man. I get an update on my daggone phone ever since I got a new update. You guys can all relate, man. It's like computer devices, no matter what it is, everything acts a little bit, I don't know what it is, weird all of a sudden. It's like, and it wasn't doing this for quite some time. Then all of a sudden I get this new update. I should have ignored that damn update, but it wouldn't have gone away. You know, if I would have said later, the phone would have did it anyway. I don't know. But this look, I don't know. It's like, I'm not sure what to think here. These eyes, though. Well, to say it, could you imagine Lena as a killer? Like, she'd be scary, though, because you think it's complete opposite of this type of character's nature, usually, the way that she goes about things. It's like, I don't know. I'm not really sure what to think on that one. It's like, Alyssa's look, as I said, when she shows an angry face, it's like, I don't know, she shows her eyes in a certain way. I think it's sometimes when you first see it, it might be a little creepy the first time you see it. This look here, this look would downright frighten you. Although somebody mentioned about, they played this kind of late, but not as late as I did it. Honestly, when I put up that part, that was actually when I did the part when I actually was recording at the time, I was actually 3 in the afternoon, not 3 at night. So when I did that part the other night, but I didn't upload it until like later in the evening. So it's like, cause I was doing some other editing and video recording as well. So you guys see how I do with my channel. So it was one of the last videos that I ended up uploading was this game here, but the last part that I put. So I had a part that I did with Resident Evil, and then there was another game that I did. I don't even remember now. I think it's The Wolf Among Us. Okay, so between those, I had a couple of different ones, and I upload them, at different hours, so that way they're not all kind of at one point. But that's pretty much what that came from. Either way, yeah, I can only imagine. I'm sitting here at the time that I'm recording this. It's about 9:30, so it's pretty much at night now. So this, I don't know. This look is kind of creepy. I gotta say. I don't know. What? An unnatural grin appeared on her face. That's not a grin. I don't know. That is, if that's a grin, that's like more like I'm gonna kill you kind of look. It's like please don't do anything to me while I'm in my sleep. I might not be able to sleep with this look. I don't know. I might not have to think of you ever again like this look. A devil's grin. So I thought, yeah, that'd be a better way of describing that, I guess. Could you have murdered Slavia? Well, I mean, since we don't know who the culprit is, I'm gonna assume no. Of course not. But you two didn't get along very well. Really? I don't remember that being a thing. Unless, well, the plot did change, like I said, after he went alone. So maybe everything about his personality towards her shifted, and maybe they went to completely different, different ways about each other. Because I don't know. If you go about this game the regular way, they're usually pretty nice to one another. I don't know. She's usually the one main girl that he usually gets the most comfortable around. Besides her, I mean Lena here. I don't know. It's kind of interesting on that. Why do you think so? We were getting along just fine. It suddenly became clear that Lena most likely is not talking about me. Well, she just said you, didn't she? More precisely, not the me from yesterday. And not the Slavia whose name is Sasha. I was sure about that. No, it wasn't me. Okay, relax. I'm not accusing you. She gave me a look, and for a second her eyes seemed red to me. Maybe it was just a reflection of the sunset. I'm glad you got everything right. But it was you who said that everyone is worth suspecting. I didn't tell you to suspect everyone. I meant that we don't know who the criminal is yet. Oh, I see. Well, I hope I don't become the next victim. You won't. as long as you look like this, I would say I don't want you to look like anything else. That other look, I would say get rid of that quick. I want nothing to do with that other look. But this one, I'll take that. But because I don't know, I gotta ask you guys a question. It's like after she gave that other look and now she looks this way, what do you think of this character now? It's like would you want to date this character knowing that they just gave you a creepy look beforehand and now you get this look? I would think, you might have something to hide there. I don't know about you now. It's like you might have like I always say, some people the most innocent looking people that put on certain faces might end up being the ones that you have to keep an eye on the most. you know, I don't know, just something about it. Lena said loudly and burst out laughing. The way she did it gave me the creeps. Okay, it's time to go. I haven't seen it. I gotta be honest too, because I watch a lot of horror stuff like throughout the years, and I haven't seen anything really that good in a long time. And uh, so it's kind of like only once in a great while you might have something that comes out there that's like that might get you a little bit, but not too much though. I don't know. I chose not to linger and headed to Olga's cabin. Okay. Still dark out though. It was all completely dark. Masha was still sleeping, so I decided not to wake her and quietly climbed in next to her. So that was interesting back there. I gotta say that look, I don't know, kind of threw me off a little bit with their Lena there. Our director or the camp leader, as the local residents kept referring to her, was still somewhere nowhere to be seen. If she enters now, it would all get very uncomfortable. Well, it might, at the very least. Anyway, who cares? A person has been murdered. It's not the time for such trifles. And anyway, we still have to find out what's going on. Why does everyone keep acting like they are pioneers? It seems to me that until it becomes clear who the real criminal is, this whole ridiculous carnival won't stop. The real question was, what is the cause and what is the effect? Either everyone keeps pretending because Slavia was murdered, I still couldn't accept that Sasha was the victim, so I kept telling myself that it was indeed Slavia, or Slavia was killed because everyone keeps pretending. Since I didn't really see who it was, they didn't show, actually. They mentioned that there was a disfigured person, but you would still make out somewhat of a person, wouldn't you? I don't know. Damn it, I got lost entirely, and such brainstorming is not going to get me anywhere. Still, obviously something's going on here, so I'm trying to treat it as whatever is going on in this scene. Because I'm still trying to follow what's going on along with him anyway. The door creaked faintly. Cautiously, I rose on my elbows a bit and peered into the darkness. A few torturous moments passed, but ultimately no one came in. Well, I guess it's no use to just lie down and wait. Right now, it's probably just the wind blowing or something like that, but this late at night when everyone is asleep. I stood up, grabbed my trousers in the dark, and looked around. It was hardly probable that I might find something that could be used as a means of self-defense here, but I at least had to give it a try. Rummaging through the cabinet's contents, I stumbled upon a locked drawer inside the cabinet. Sure, I'd love to find a gun or at least some kind of heavy crowbar there. However, I totally understood that I really should hold my breath for one. But it had to be locked for a reason. I pushed the cabinet from the wall, estimated where exactly on the back side that drawer was, and gave it a sharp and precise so I would not wake Masha up kick with my leg. Okay. The plywood cracked and some things spilled forth from the drawer. Underwear. Oh boy. More underwear. Matches. Whose underwear, though? Hers or someone else's? Oh, they might just come in handy. I shoved the matchbox into my pocket, and at the same moment I heard some strange noises from outside the door, as if some wild animal was scratching on it. Okay. Surely, if that is the real criminal, I won't stand a chance against him. But one shouldn't shrug off the possibility that it was the work of a local pioneer, who may have gone crazy or who was just as safe from the start. After seeing that that image from Lena, though, I don't know if I'll be able to sleep knowing that that was the last thing that I saw of her. Then she put on a happy face. It's so like, what are you trying to do to me, Gabe? You just ruined the girl, ruined the best girl. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. Anyway, I should still be able to knock out any of the local residents, even if he came at me with a knife. Thinking about a weapon gave me the creeps. No, I shouldn't be so overconfident. If I get into an encounter with someone who is, for example, armed with a knife, then I must shut the door, barricade all entrances, and wait for help. You probably couldn't get a hold of a firearm here. Although, the door creaked once more and opened up about an inch. Okay. I closed my eyes for a second and violently pulled it open, gathered all my strength. Uh, ah! I heard a choked scream and saw Alyssa spread eagle on the doorstep. Um, I see somebody standing up, but this word here, I don't know. I don't. Never mind. We'll just go on with that. Oh, it's just you. I heaved a sigh of relief. Don't scare people like that. Want me to give a. Want me to. What? Give a heart attack? You want to give me a heart attack? Is that what you should be saying here? I don't know. That line just seemed a little bit off there. She got off, dusted her clothes off slowly, and glanced at me guiltily. Uh, Once I've already mentioned how the version that I have, or the mobile version, the translation is even less perfect than less accurate than the PC version of it. I could imagine, because I mentioned how when it came to certain choices when you pick throughout the game, there were some where it seemed like they weren't able to translate this one all the way with certain uh, because a few choices I had to select. Some of the choices were in Russian. And as I mentioned, I cannot read that kind of language or know it, so it's like, I don't know. And I know a few of my subs are, so it's like, I don't know. But since I have the walkthrough, that's pretty much how I figured out how to do it. So, and it's pretty much says what the choice is supposed to be, so I don't necessarily have to read it and do it that way. But seeing other dialogue definitely can throw you off a little bit here or there. I'm sorry. It's fine. It's just, it could be dangerous to walk alone around the camp during the night, what with all the stuff that's happening. I stopped short. Happening implies an ongoing process, as if something was still going to happen. I mean, happened. That's why I came. Alyssa was looking at the ground and trembling slightly. Okay. It's already late, but Oyana is still nowhere to be seen. She raised her eyes to me, and I saw tears running down her cheeks. Good Lord. Where could she have gone? It wasn't like I was really concerned, but I asked because I felt that I had to calm the situation. It was perfectly clear that there is absolutely nothing to do in this camp at night. If there's electricity available, then everyone watches movies on their laptops. If not, then they just read books by candlelight. I don't know anybody that does that. Wandering under the moon should be on that list. I'm talking about the part where he's talking about reading under what the candle's going on. I don't know anybody that does that. At least not today. I don't know. Okay, let's think through with it without any fuss. I walked over to the table and picked up the cloth. It's midnight. Sure, everyone should be already at their cabins by this time. Scary thoughts suddenly flashed through my mind. Where's Olga Dmitrievna? Let's go outside and talk there. Don't want us to wake up Miku. And he kind of stumbled his word there. He didn't want to say Miku. That's kind of funny. As we went out, I took a place by the stairs and started to think. Alyssa stood beside me, wringing her hands with a pained look on her face as she watched the full moon rise. We have to call the police. We've already called them. But back then, it was only Slavia, and now it's also Yana. And Olga. Have you seen her? No, but what? Is she too? Alyssa burst into tears. We still don't know anything, but nevertheless, it's clear that something's going on here. Even if they're not just pretending to be pioneers and something really has happened to the world right now, I could have quite a good chance of departing from it without getting any of the answers to my questions. So I have to focus on survival. Survival. The world hit like a sharp pain to the back of my neck. Are we thinking Resident Evil when you use that word there, survival? I don't know. Just something that kind of came to mind. Or, well, Resident Evil isn't the only one that's kind of like survival horror. You also have the Silent Hill games. I don't know if some of you guys ever played those. They don't make them anymore though. But the ones from PS1 and PS2 days, those were great games. But a little different though. The atmosphere was different compared to Resident Evil. You weren't really dealing with zombies, but you still had like it was more of a mind fuck. The game just kind of fucked with your head a little bit. That was what made those games, kind of creepy to me a little bit. Resident Evil was more like you get in the atmosphere. The idea is like it's meant to be scary, but those games never really scared me though. Even the first one, like uh, since I'm born in '86, the first time I played the original one anyway was '97. So I had to been between, maybe 9, 10, maybe. I don't even remember now. Maybe I was 8 or 9. Because I think, let me see. Uh, 86 to 1996. Actually, you know what? I take that back. I was actually about 11. So I take that back on that. So, but that's the thing, as years go by, you can forget certain periods, right? Sometimes. Just yesterday, I didn't need to give the slightest consideration to anything like that. But there are a few games that have creeped me out a little bit. I don't know if you guys ever played the Fatal Frame games out there, or which is better known in Japan, known as the Project Zero games. That's what they're known as in Japan. But over here in the States, it's called Fatal Frame. And there's been a couple of those games, but specifically the first two is usually the ones that comes to mind. That creep me out. I think one of them, I don't even remember what I played. The one that everybody knows of is, I think, is two. That has the twins, and then there's another one that has a girl that's looking for a missing brother, in some place, and the place turns out to be haunted or whatnot. So you have that. So there's been a couple games like that, but very rarely though. I don't know. The quiet summer night was raining over everything around us. Not a breath of wind, not a rustle of grass or a whisper of moving leaves could be heard. Although there is a visual novel that screwed my brain up a little bit. I could try to. Have you? Some of you guys ever play when? Oh God, I'm trying to think of the visual novel. It's like uh, it's got like the characters end up turning out to be like maniacs, and it's like something when something cry. I forget the name title. As maybe some of you guys might be able to help me out with the name of it. But it was kind of like I guess, a horror type little bit, but it was more or less more disturbing than anything else than actually being scary. But then again, I guess if you want to call it that could be said in the same vein too, though. I don't know. Nothing. Just a reflection of the moonlight in the cabin's windows, sparse clouds up in the sky, and yet impenetrable darkness all around. They say that when you gaze into the abyss also gazes into you. And the grasshoppers. These damn critters are pulling a double shift of DJing. Okay. As if they're constantly on duty. As the day shift and winds up, the night shift, who got enough sleep begins. Then the night ones knock off, and I have to find some insecticide after all. At least I could wipe out a couple of divisions. With any luck, that would get me some quiet living space around this cabin. Sure, I could destroy them all. What the heck? There are probably more of them are than there are humans in the entire world. Can you hear it? Alyssa sat down and huddled up against me. Her entire body was trembling. Good lord. She's been doing this shaking for a while. I just been not trying to pay too much attention to it. I don't know. I strained my ears. That would get on my nerves seeing this constant jerking like that. It seemed that somebody was slowly walking down the path to our cabin. I couldn't make anything out in the dark, but the steps grew more and more audible with every second. Okay, don't sweat it. He won't dare to attack the two of us. He? Although I wasn't really sure about that. My hands instinctively started to search for something I could use to defend myself. Hey! Sorry. Soon enough, I found a piece of water pipe underneath the bench. It's not much help, of course. It's way too thick and uncomfortable to wield properly, but it's still better than going out empty-handed. The mere sight of this monstrosity would make anyone pee themselves. Good lord. Most likely from laughter. There's nothing I could do. We're as good as sitting ducks here, so I'd rather move out towards the enemy. Somebody asked me one time, is Kato a shoujo a horror game? No, it's a visual novel, but it's not a horror game. No, because there's nothing in that game that really. Although you do get bad endings and you get some alternate endings, just like you do in this a little bit. But I wouldn't exactly call that scary though. It's more like because the people in Kato Shoujo, since they all have like why they're there in that school, uh, if you get their bad ending, it's more like okay, you did something that fucked them up along the way, right? Along with the protagonist himself, like it's almost like the game just kind of throws in the towel and says, you know what, you guys are not really getting any progress or getting together at this point. Like you guys are drifting further apart. So it's like when you go onto somebody's bad route, it's more depressing than anything that I would say actually scary. I always say there's a difference between the two, right? Feeling depressed about something is not the same as you were spooked, or I don't know. Just kind of the way I would describe that anyway. In fact, that it was quite the opposite. I was really freaking out. It just seemed that I had no other choice. I took a deep breath and slowly headed into the darkness. Specifically, Rin's route is usually the one that comes to mind that I think everybody could say, if you, those of you that have played Katawa Shoujo, if you played Rin's route, or maybe it's who else? I think Hanako. She's another one that has kind of a dark past too, a little bit. So when you get on her, if you do one of her bad endings, they get pretty depressing on those two. But outside of that, the game is pretty much straightforward. Here, it seems like in Miku's route, they're trying to throw a little bit of, I don't know, some type of, not really sure what to describe at this particular part because we haven't seen Miku in a while. I mean, we have seen her, but it seemed like the plot has kind of moved a little bit past her. Doesn't seem like they've been focusing too much on her, but lately. But I'm curious to see where this is all going to go because, like I said, it's like I'm getting into this, but at the same time, it does feel like the route is a little bit all over the place since I've come into it, and not really sure what to think. But as I mentioned, I will give you my opinion of all this once it gets to the end of it, but see what I thought of the whole thing. But soon enough, I could make out more features of the stranger's silhouette. Not very tall, weird hairstyle, a skirt. That ought to be Lena. Good lord. Wow, you look like you're scared about something, but the last look we saw of you creeped me out more than the other way. I don't know. My eyes was probably like that when I probably saw the other look from her. Oh no. I lowered my guard. What are you doing here this late at night? I. I. Oh boy. Lena's face was stained with tears. Good lord. Come on. I led her to Alyssa. As Lena was coming back to her senses, she tried to explain what happened. I was just sitting alone, and it's quite late, and but Miku's still missing. And what happened to Slavia? And I thought Miku was resting, or at least that he said she was sleeping. Did she get up and sleepwalk in the middle of the night? I don't know. I still just couldn't reconcile this image of Lena, a sobbing girl sitting in front of me, with the one that I saw at the square a few hours ago, with the grin of the devil and the hellish flames in her eyes. I'm guessing that's just, Just a look we don't normally see of very often, but I like the way he described it. Maybe it was just my imagination. Who knows? Or maybe not. By any chance, do you know where Oyana and Oga are? She raised her surprised eyes to me. No, why? Are they also missing? Well, so far we can't be sure. C'est bien. At first, I didn't realize that she was addressing me. Huh? Don't you think that it's way too quiet in the cab? It's night, everyone's sleeping, aren't they? I strained my ears. Indeed, there were no sounds besides these damn grasshoppers. I mean, no sounds whatsoever. What is this place usually like? Quiet, whispered Lena. Quiet, but not this quiet. I could let girls fall into panic, although I was starting to freak out myself. Yet there were a lot of reasons to. Humans disappeared into thin air, horrible murders, friends that pretend to be the pioneers, till the very end. I was ready to lose it. Okay, let's think rationally. The girls gave me a few questioning looks. People can't just disappear without a trace. That means, well, I don't know about that one. In this game, who knows? Nope, it doesn't mean anything. Suddenly, we heard a rustle in the bushes behind the cabin. Lena's scared look looks more creepy than anything. You guys let me know. It's like, the way her eyes just go, it's like she's got them yandere eyes. I don't know. It's like, what are you turning this character into? I don't know. What happened? It's like you became something else, you know? I know it's supposed to be a scared look for her, but I just can't get over these eyes, though. I don't know. It's almost like the other one, but without the smirk to it, you know? Without the devil grin, whatever she had beforehand. Those eyes look similar, though. Or at least the eyes were kind of a similar look to them. Before I could even grab my pipe, Router emerged from the darkness. Ah, there you are. You didn't seem to be all that concerned by all the stuff happening around. Oh, Lord. Stop jumping out at people like that. The girls are going to have a heart attack at this rate. I wonder if my subs are not being scared watching this part, too. Who knows? But then again, by me doing a lot of talking, it'll probably keep y'all from getting freaked out. Who knows? I tend to ramble, as y'all know. Although I wasn't sure who was more frightened, them or me. Yeah, I apologize. Why have you come? Have you seen Shirk? We've been over this. We haven't. It looks like half of the camp just disappeared in the last few hours. Plus, it's too quiet around here. We noticed that already. There's no light anywhere. Dead silence. Oh, don't you start whipping up the tension here. I feel sick already. What am I doing? I'm not doing anything. He flashed a mysterious smile that gave me the creeps. His smile never changes. He always looks like that. If he looked like something else, I might say, okay, you got something there. Okay, you stay here and I'm going to scout around the camp. Hello? Don't sound like a good idea to go alone with what's going on, does it? Yeah, that probably wasn't exactly the brightest idea. No. I have to think first, then speak. I'll go with you. Okay, then you just stay here and don't forget that Miku is still sleeping in the cabin. I thought they just said she was missing. Make up your mind. She's either sleeping or missing. Sir, yes, sir. What a dork. If he gave me that dopey smile in any other situation. Good Lord. Okay, so where are we going? About half an hour later, our search brought us to the square. All the cabins were empty. It looks like there are only the 5 of us left in the camp. I limped along with that pipe of mine. It appeared to be so lightweight at first, but after carrying it for some time, I've learned that one can get worn out, even carrying a bag of feathers. What on earth is everyone? This appeared to be more or less calm. The horror of the first minutes when we were going from one empty cabin to another had already passed. Well, at least we can be sure that it's not the same case as whatever happened to Slavia. Why is that? Just think, where are the bodies? I said in a whisper, fearful of scaring her. But where is everyone then? Disappeared. Hardly a credible explanation. But if you think about it, nothing whatsoever that's happened during the last 24 hours has been credible. They couldn't just go just like that. It's nothing like anything is up to us now. And in any case, tomorrow's still another day. I try to put on a smile. Let's rejoin the others. Yeah, agreed Alyssa with a hint of indecisiveness. We'd only taken a few steps when a rustle in the bushes came from behind. I instantly turned around and peered towards the source of sound. Alyssa clung to my hand so hard it hurt, and I tightened my grip on the pipe. Who's there? No idea. I strained my eyes, but still couldn't make out anything in the darkness. Hey! I had no idea what to do next. The rustling suddenly cut off, and the night returned to just the usual cricket fiddling. Could it be some wild animal? I wondered with a feeling of insecurity. Wild animal? She gripped my hand even tighter. But there are no wild animals around here. A squirrel, for example? I don't know. Squirrels don't come out at night, bud. A squirrel? As far as I know, anyway. Yeah, a squirrel. Well, maybe. Shall we go? Yeah. Okay. A minute later, we were approaching Olga Dmitrievna's cabin. Router and Lena remained silent and just shuddered slightly when they saw us. Oh, how is it? No one out there. What do you mean, no one? Everyone's gone, said Alyssa through her tears. The girls rushed into each other's arms, and I sat down next to Router, finally dropping the abhorred pipe of mine to the ground. It's just that simple. Just that simple. But how? I really don't know. Maybe it's an alien abduction. That's funny. What nonsense. Want to play Detective Sherlock? Good lord. Well, it could be the same maniac. It's kind of way too much for just one man, don't you think so? I guess you're right, but who? Who is it then? It still could turn out to be just a stupid prank. It's Slavia too. That's all just a stupid prank. No, she was definitely murdered by someone. Do we even know if that's her or not? I still need to see a body. Face! I want the face, man. Or I'm just gonna assume it's just anybody. But who? He gave me a sorrow gaze. I have no idea. Maybe it was you. I was starting to get wound up. That would be funny if it did turn out to be him, wouldn't it, though? I don't know. Although, well, sure, it could be another one. Like, we've seen his creepy self before. Or you. Good lord. Not me for sure. How could you prove it? What on earth should I have to explain myself to you? You're the only one without an alibi. Ah, so you do have an alibi, eh? I was in my cabin at night. Sure, it can prove it. Sure, but sure, it's temporarily unavailable. Ryder gritted his teeth and turned away. Anyway, I'm the one with an alibi here. I'm not going to justify myself here. I'm sure about myself. It's great to believe in yourself. I'm also sure about myself. And Mika could prove me right. I was with her all the night, all the time. Not exactly the best witness. Just as good as yours. What do you mean she's not a good witness? Well, I mean, maybe if she's sleeping, she wouldn't know anything at this situation, but I don't know. I have no idea how long we could have argued like that if Lena hadn't intervened in the conversation. Boys, come on, that's enough. You're right, sorry. Yeah, indeed, now is not the best time for something like this. Anyway, we should stick together. Would it help keep us from disappearing? Asked Alyssa timidly. I'm not sure about all that disappearance stuff, but at least it should help us to stay alive. I glanced at my watch. It's almost 4 o'clock. The sun will be rising soon. Okay, squad, time to hit the hay. Come on, phone, stop that. Are we gonna end up totally wiped out? But... No buts. Nobody else tried to object, and we entered the cabin quietly. What's happening? Seems like we woke Masha up. It's okay, keep sleeping. But she was already sitting up on the bed and staring blankly at our little party. Well, you see, they're all gone. Disappeared. Everyone's gone. Lena burst into tears and flung her arms around Misha's neck. What? What's going on? Can you speak clearly? Well, long story short, I cracked my neck and compulsively reached for the cigarettes in my pocket, finding none. I heaved a sigh of frustration and said, "It looks like there's just 5 of us left in this camp. Meeting everyone in this meeting everyone in this room. Rejoice. Captain Obvious has returned. You gotta keep watch first." Eh? That'd be my reaction too. Oh, nothing. Do you really think that it's safe for everyone to sleep at the same time? What if this turns out all to be one big joke? I don't know. Somebody just playing a prank on him or some type of shit. I don't know. Well, it isn't, but exactly. I handed him the pipe and slowly approached the bed where Lena was still sobbing in Masha's arms. Well, if you don't mind. I slipped my boots off, climbed over the girls, and turned towards the wall. But how? Anyhow, sleep. I was so exhausted, both physically and more importantly, emotionally, that I was unable to do anything, think anything, communicate with anybody. I was desperate to get some sleep. Way too desperate. Masha's whispers, Lena's sobs, Alyssa's voice, all that has somehow melted in one quiet lullaby, and so I fell asleep.